Hello, everyone. This section is why are vet techs important? So let's go ahead and dive into it. All right. So why are vet techs important? My name is Emily Nolan, and I will be going through this with you guys today. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. What is a vet tech, you may be asking yourself? So vet tech is a short term for veterinary technologist. These people have completed 2 or 4 year degrees at an accredited veterinary technology program. They have passed the Veterinary Technologist National Exam, otherwise known as the VT&E. The VT&E is commonly accepted amongst all 50 states and parts of Canada. They must be registered with each vet tech regulatory organization of their state. So for Florida, they need to register with the Florida Vet Tech Association. Each state has different requirements as to what it means to register, what paperwork they will be needing, anything like that, along with continuing education credits. Some states require more, some require less, some require so many that can be done online, so many that can't be done online. So it's important to check with the state that you'll be working in to make sure you follow those guidelines. Continuing on, so where do vet techs work? So we work at animal hospitals, clinics, things like that. So those are kind of broken down into different types of animal hospitals and clinics. So the first one is general practice, cats, dogs, things you may be more familiar with, companion animals. And then moving on, specialty practices. So those are practices that do orthopedics, internal medicine, things like that. And of course, emergency clinics. So if your pet is sick after your normal veterinarian's hours or is in a severe emergency, you would take them to an emergency clinic. They are very well equipped and trained to work in those special types of situations. Other animal hospitals and clinics are called mixed practices. Those practices work with horses, cows, pigs, things that are known as large animals, and then of course small animals as well, cats, dogs, companion animals. We also work at zoos. If you look at this top picture here, you'll see this lovely veterinary technologist nursing a hippopotamus baby, which is great, making sure that it has the proper nutrition that it needs. We are super important as vet techs to make sure that our patients are well taken care of, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Moving on, agriculture, 4-H, and you'll notice 4-H is again in academia, teaching, also hands-on working with 4-H, and again with agriculture, USDA, other regulatory agencies that monitor and make sure that animals that are producing products for human consumption, such as eggs, milk, meat, are being taken care of appropriately. Research, making sure that test subjects, animals that are used for test subjects, such as pharmaceutical research, cosmetic research, things like that, making sure that they're tended to and well cared for. And back again with academia, vet schools, they have clinics on campus that this veterinary students will work with veterinary technologists there to see patients, practice their skills, things like learn from veterinary staff. And then vet tech programs, such as the one here at FAMU, those programs are teaching vet techs about veterinary medicine and what they need to learn, and teaching them about animal husbandry, things like that. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. All right. So what can vet techs work with? So we work with small animals, cats and dogs, large animals, cattle, swine, poultry, goats, sheep, and horses. Exotics, rabbits, guinea pigs, snakes, hamsters, and so many others. Zoo animals, elephants, tigers, monkeys, bears, and again, so many others. Moving on, what can vet techs do? So Nursing and husbandry is our main goal, making sure that these animals are well cared for, making sure that they have food, water, good nutrition, that they're clean, that they're in a clean environment. They're being, if it's a dog, they're being taken out, to use the restroom. Also, if it's a cat, making sure that they have clean litter, things like that. Making sure that if they have a bandage, such as if they have an injury, a laceration, that those bandages are taken care of and are clean. Radiology is going to talk about x-rays, ultrasound, MRI, CT, any of those things. If you look at the top picture and on this slide, you will see this nice man dressed in appropriate PPE, protective equipment, making sure that he is not putting himself at risk. Caring for this nice lab, it looks like he took an abdomen or a stomach x-ray of this lab. Laboratory procedures. Those are things such as blood work, urinalysis, fecal samples to make sure our furry friends don't have intestinal parasites, and communicating those results with the veterinarians and the owners. Surgical assistance. If you look at the bottom-ish picture here, you'll see this veterinary technologist monitoring vitals while this patient is under anesthesia, making sure that it stays warm, clean, making sure that the anesthesia is functioning properly, making sure it has the proper medications, and occasionally we will have to assist the veterinarians with surgery as the veterinarians need us. Pharmaceutical assistance, we can fill medication, we can give medication to patients after the doctor has directed us to give that medication. We can calculate the dosage of medication after the doctor has told us this is what medication he would like the patient to have, and we can communicate and discuss different medications with the clients as the veterinarian directs us. Medical record keeping, again, this kind of ties in with the nice veterinary technologist here that is monitoring surgery. He is marking down vital signs for this animal, making sure that during the entire surgical process, we are making sure that the animal is warm, making sure that the heart rate and respiratory rate is appropriate, and making sure that he documents any medications that are given to the patient. Part of that is a legal document known as the patient's medical record. Those are legal. They are super important to make sure we have those organized and that those stay with the clinic and or the client, making sure that everything is documented appropriately. That's extremely important. And of course, we communicate between clients and the veterinarian. We talk to clients about their pets. We get a history about what's been going on, what's painful with them, while we're handling the patient. If we notice something, we again communicate that to the veterinarian. Veterinarians, there's normally 1 to 2 veterinarians per practice, and then there's multiple veterinary technologists that go back and forth to make sure that the clients are communicated with. Sometimes the veterinarians will give us instructions for care, for at-home care, medications, things like that. And we want to communicate that to the client as best as possible so that way they can continue care at home. All right, moving right along. So there's things vet techs can't do. By law, we can't do these 3 things. So first, surgery. We cannot perform surgery on any patient. Only veterinarians can do that. And surgery is defined as cutting open and repairing or doing anything like that with surgical instruments. We cannot prescribe medications. So we cannot, like I discussed before, we can give medications, we can calculate doses of medications, but only after the veterinarian has told us which medication to give and how much medication he wants us to give. That's super important to understand. We cannot prescribe any medications to go home, even if the doctor's busy. We cannot do that. Everything must go through the veterinarian. And we can also not diagnose the patient with anything. So say a patient comes in and they're limping on their right leg. We can't say, oh, this patient has a broken leg. Nope, we cannot do that. the veterinarian must be the one to diagnose that patient with the broken leg. So that's not something we can do. All right. So, and the differences between veterinarians and veterinary technologists, the main one is veterinarians are doctors that can prescribe medication for the patient, perform necessary surgery on the patient, and diagnose the patient with a medical condition. So everything we can't do, they can do. These people go to school for 8+ years and have passed a board exam that allows them to practice in their state. Each state, just like veterinary technologists, may have different board exams. Also, they may have different requirements for licensure. Those veterinarians will have to, after they graduate from their veterinary program, they will have to contact the regulatory agency for that state and register themselves, make sure that they've turned in everything that they need to turn in, and provide that to the regulatory agency of that state. And then veterinary technologists are those who have a CVT, an LVT, or an RVT, depending on the state. So a CVT here in Florida, we are CVTs. They're called Certified Veterinary Technologists. An LVT is a licensed veterinary technologist, and an RVT is a registered veterinary technologist. They're all the same. They do the same things. They are required to have the same education, the same VT&E, everything, except for the only thing that's changed is the state calls them something different. So that's kind of something to keep in mind when you go to different states and you hear different veterinary vet techs talk about their experiences or what they're called when they're from a different state than you. These people, they work with the direction of the veterinarian to provide great care to their patients. So again, they work with the direction of the veterinarian to provide care, make sure that they're giving the appropriate care. These people are very important to the care of each and every animal. Like I said, there's normally one doctor, and we can have a handful, if not more, patients that are in the clinic at one time. So it's our responsibility to make sure that they're getting the best care possible and then communicate that with the veterinarian and, of course, their owner. All right, vet tech specialties. So you can get a specialty as a vet tech. Here are some of the key ones. There are more, and there's constantly changing. There's constantly more specialties being offered. The heavy hitters or the big ones that I tend to know about and that are super common are going to be surgery, surgical assistance, as we talked before, orthopedic. So orthopedic is anything joint related. A lot of those times when you do orthopedic surgeries of the knee, hip, anything like that, those can be super complicated. They require certain tools. They can be an extremely long surgery. And then, of course, the recovery process and rehabilitation of those animals after they've went through the surgery or have had an injury of an orthopedic nature is super extensive. Equine and other large animals, if you look at this top picture, this veterinary technician is taking care of a young horse here. It looks like it has either had an injury or has a feeding tube that needs to be cared for, kept clean, things like that. Radiology, like I stated before, x-rays, MRI, CT, ultrasound, a lot of those. So other than x-ray and ultrasound, MRI and CT are mainly going to be done at a specialty practice. It is occasional that a general practice will have this equipment. However, this equipment is extremely expensive and takes up a lot of room. So normally that's going to be at a specialty practice. Laboratory procedures, sometimes you will have to send out blood work or cultures or things like that to a reference laboratory to get more extensive testing done. And those are veterinary technologists that manage that and make sure the testing is completed and then communicate those results. Stress-free handling is a new and very popular one. So everything that is related to the handling of the patient, cat, dog, anything like that is done in a stress-free manner to make sure that they are not stressed at all during the entire process of visiting the veterinarian, receiving treatment, anything like that. Of course, emergency is another specialty that's super important. These technicians are trained so that way they are ready and prepared to be in any type of emergency situation. Research, again, anything that is pharmaceutical, cosmetic, anything that you can think of that is researched and an animal subject is used to be researched on, veterinary technologists are required by law to be on the premises to make sure that the animals are taken care of properly. Is a vet tech right for me? So I'm going to ask you guys a few questions. Answer in your head if you think it, if you answer yes, and then we'll talk about maybe if that's right for you. So, do you enjoy making connections with people as much as animals? Animals have owners or caretakers. So, cats and dogs have owners, cows have owners, horses have owners. If there's going to be a zoo or an exotic animal, they have caretakers such as zookeepers and people that are responsible for them. It is of utmost importance that we communicate treatment plans, care, things like that to those people to make sure that they're getting the proper care after we leave the premises, and making sure we make good connections with those people and that those people trust us to take care of their animals. Do you mind getting dirty? Sometimes animals can be really dirty. Cows, pigs roll in the mud all of the time. These animals, if they are sick, sometimes they can urinate or defecate on themselves. It is of utmost importance that you're okay with, you may get dirty that day, and that's all right. Do you enjoy caring for animals? Of course, this job is about caring for animals. Our main goal is to give the best care possible to our patients. Do you get excited that each day you learn something new? Each day working with animals is a new adventure. I can't tell you how many times where I went into work and there was a new animal that I had to learn how to handle better, or I learned about a new disease or a new illness, or I learned about a new client and their needs. Sometimes clients have special needs that requires us to take extra care and how we communicate with them. So you learn so much in a day. So if you said yes to any of these questions, vet tech might be right for you. So definitely something to think about. So in high school, things that you can do to prepare. The first thing is to have good grades. That's always helpful, and I always encourage you guys having good grades. Math and science are going to be used in the vet tech or veterinary medicine curriculum a lot. So definitely make sure you're keeping up with your math and science. Extracurricular activities, get involved in 4-H, get involved in FFA. So 4-H and FFA, they're going to be hands-on. Of course, there's different animal clubs. Get involved with them, raise an animal, get hands-on, learn how to care for them hands-on. There's nothing better than learning how to care from a firsthand experience. And then you get to take them to shows, win competitions, and it's very fun. And then of course, animal clubs. Sometimes different people have vet tech clubs or animal clubs, dog clubs, cat clubs. Those are super important to get involved with. And of course, best thing I can recommend is volunteer. Animal clinics and animal shelters are always looking for volunteers. That is going to be great to put on your resume for college. For, if you want to get a job in the veterinary field, you're going to already have experience that they're looking for. And as you move on to college, here's some things you can do to prepare while you're in college for your career or the next step of your learning years. It is important to know if you would like to become a veterinarian because you will need to take classes called prerequisites to get into vet school. Certain maths and sciences are considered prerequisites to get into vet school. So you want to make sure you get good grades in those, and you want to make sure you complete those before you attend vet school. Also, while you're in college, you will need to accumulate a lot of hours working with animals. A lot of veterinary schools, they require you as part of applying to vet school to have an extensive number of hours and working with several different types of animals, which is why volunteering, even if you did it in high school, you can still put that on your resume. 4-H, FFA, any of these things, you can still put on your resume and use that to apply to colleges. Internships, animal clinics and animal shelters sometimes will give you internships or offer internships for you to learn in a hands-on environment. Get involved. So there's a club on campus that is super important. I put the logo here. Manners, Minorities in Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Related Sciences. They do great to make sure that you get some hands-on education, get those hours that you need for vet school, and or education that you're going to take into your career. A lot of times they will visit different competitions, visit different veterinary schools, visit different environments that you guys can get more experience. Vet Tech Club is on campus. That's one that is a club that focuses on vet tech things, helps you with your education, helps you making the right career decisions after you graduate, gets you involved with other vet techs so you guys can talk about that and talk about your experiences. Animal Science Club is another good one to put on your resume. Again, gets you more experience with animals and learning about animals. So FAMU, like I said before, we have a vet tech program. I graduated from the FAMU vet tech program in 2018. There's some more information here about how to get in contact with them. If you do look on FAMU's academic website, there's a whole section for them with all of this information, and they would be more than happy to answer any more questions that you guys have in regards to the vet tech program here at FAMU. Questions, normally, if you were here talking with me, we could talk about those, but please feel free to email me at emily.nolan@famu.edu. Any questions, anything I can help you guys with related to vet tech or animal science, please send those my way and I will get back to you as soon as possible. You can also call me and contact me here in my office at UF IFAS Extension Office in Jefferson County. Additional resources, if you want more information about becoming a veterinarian, you can always contact the American Veterinary Medical Association, otherwise known as the AVMA. The Association of Veterinary Medical Colleges is also a great resource and provides you information about scholarships, grants, loans, internships, requirements for veterinary college, and so much more. If you're interested in becoming a veterinary technician, you can contact the National Association of Veterinary Technicians in America for more information about educational programs and requirements. And again, get in contact with your state and your local resources. I hope that was super informative. And so if you had any more questions, like I said, please feel free to email me and contact me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching.